I'm Maxie with Maxie Makes, and today I want to share with you a new tool that I have found called the Slide and Trim Hexagon Log Cabin Ruler. It comes in 2 pieces in the set from the good folks at Almost Heaven Woodcraft. They make a lot of good products there, and I'm going to show you just how easy it is to use this today to create your own hexagon log cabins like this one. This one has 5 rounds, but you don't have to use 5 rounds. You can make smaller ones if you like. You could make these and sew them together and make a larger quilt project. Or if you're not into Y seams, you can also use the template that they provide in the pattern to cut corners to sew to 4 of the hexagon sides. And this gives you about a 14 by 16 hexagon unfinished, so you could sew all of those together to make a quilt or a table runner or a bag or whatever you have in mind. So let me show you just how much fun this is and how easy it is. Okay, we need to cut some fabric strips before we get started, and you are going to be using 1.5 inch wide strips for this project. So choose your fabrics. And you have options, you know. You can use 5 different fabrics like I did for this one, or you could use just 2 like I did on this one, or you could even go scrappy and use a different fabric in each location. Just cut up a bunch of 1.5 inch strips and pick and choose as you go. And another thing, if you're going to fussy cut your hexagon, it's so easy to do that with this ruler because it's clear, and or you can see through it rather. It has this great yellow color which will cast a glow on your fabric's edge, and it makes it so nice to cut. I love the color of this ruler. It makes everything so easy to see. But just make sure you have your seam allowance preserved and cut your hexagon out. Let's look for just a minute at this trim tool. You're going to see 7 sections numbered 1 through 7, and you have dotted lines and you have solid lines. The dotted lines are for seams and the solid lines are your cut lines. That's all you have to remember. So let's get started. You're going to sew a strip to one side of your hexagon, and you're going to want to press your seam allowances away from the hexagon and toward the strip. But I don't like to do that at the iron. This is my little tip for you. I like to do it by finger pressing after I've sewn, and just press just on the hexagon. Don't finger press off onto the strip because it's real easy to skew that, and then your trimming won't be accurate. So you're going to press it up like that with your fingers, and then you're going to place the tool on the hexagon, and I'm going to show you which lines to look at, and you'll see how easy this is. The first place to look is to make sure you have this side of the ruler aligned with this cut edge of the hexagon, and then you want to make sure you have this side aligned with the strip's edge, and that you have this dotted line on the seam, and then the last place to look is this solid line aligned with this side of the hexagon. So here, 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 and here. Now if you have taken such a scant seam allowance that you have a little bit of fabric extending right here, it's great to go ahead and trim that away too. It'll just make sure that your hexagon doesn't grow every round that you sew on, but I do that last. Now I'm going to turn my mat just a little bit to make this easier for me, and I'm going to line this up again. And I'm going to cut. Now the next step is the slide part. So we've got our ruler placed like this, and we're just going to slide it down all the way to the end. And this is the same for every strip. You're going to slide it all the way to the end. You're going to line up those same lines, the dotted line here on the seam, this edge of the ruler on this side of the hexagon, and this on the cut edge of the strip. And then there's one more place you need to look that's very important, and that is that this 1/4 inch mark right here where this angle comes down and hits this dotted line, that it's right on the edge of the hexagon. That'll preserve your seam allowance, and then you can make your cut. And there's that first section all done. Now we're ready to sew on strip 2. If you want to double check yourself, the markings on the ruler allow that. You just line it up like so and make sure that you are within the numbered section and you're good to go. So the pattern gives you instructions for which section of the trim tool you look at, but trust me, you won't have to refer to this once you go around one time. You'll really understand, and it'll be so easy. Now we're going to sew another strip to this side. We're going to move clockwise around the hexagon. So I've got this one sewn here. I'm just going to finger press that up and then place the trim tool on the hexagon, aligning all of those same lines, only this time I'm going to line number 2. So I've got this edge lined up, this edge lined up, solid line is on the cut edge of the hexagon, and this dotted line is on the seam. So I'm ready to cut this side. Then we're ready to slide our ruler down, and we're going to line up all the same points. We're going to see that this 1/4 inch line right here is on the edge right there. The dotted line is on the seam. The edge of the ruler is on the edge of the hexagon, and this line is with the edge, and we're ready to cut this side. And we have the second one cut. See how easy? Trust me, it gets so easy. With every one that you make, it gets easier and easier to just use the intuitive lines on this trim tool. You really don't ever have to wonder which one you're to use, because it's the only one that fits in that particular instance, and I'll show you here. This is the last one on this round. This is our first round, and this is the very last one. I just skipped to the last to show you this. Finger press that up, lay the tool on. Though the instructions tell me that I need to use line 3, I automatically know that because it aligns. It would be impossible to use line 4 or line 2. So line 3 is definitely my line. That's why this is such a good tool. It just makes sense. Trim, slide, align, and trim. And now we are finished with the first round of our hexagon. Fun, huh? That would make a great coaster at this size. But you can keep going, and you would start with your next round on this side because this is the shortest piece. That makes sense when you look at mine here. Here's my short piece. Short, short, short. So just start on the same side every time that you make a new round. And like I said before, if you want to add those corner triangles in place, They're very easy to do, just cut right by the template, and you have a little fudge factor after you're finished so that you can trim here 1/4 of an inch away from that point right there on the hexagon, and they are perfect, every one. Alright, I hope you enjoy making hexagon log cabins, and thank you to Almost Heaven Woodcraft for making such a great product for us.